Thor's mother is, of course, the earth, and she gave birth to him to protect her. Ostara is a manifestation of an earth maiden, although she's heavily evolved in fertility rites, so she's a maiden or virgin in the old ways, meaning she was unmarried, not that she had never engaged in any sort of sexual act. So, there is a saying that religion is imitation of your gods upon earth. And I had imitated a portion of Thor's story. And because of this, I had earned my place to say I am a son of Thor. And he has been with me my whole life. And I brought him into... He's starting to leave, which having Thor in your head is like trying to surf a volcano. There's just so much power that it pulses like thunder. So being like Thor on the earth manifests his agenda, his work, what he represents. And in doing that, I have kept him with me, and I have brought him into the order with me. And the other members of this order were very hesitant at first to bring Thor in, and I could never understand why. I think there's so much nonsense and total bullshit about him, and the stories have been tweaked, and a lot of his lore has been taken out on purpose. I'm very lucky to have been introduced to people who know and have kept the real Norse lore, and it traveled through Iceland, and it traveled through Germany, and it was kept complete. And the poetic Eddas, for as much as they're nice, there's a lot left out, and a lot changed, and a lot that doesn't make sense. And there's gods that are mentioned once or twice that are actually huge in their scope and in their importance that Christian scribes purposely downplayed, and Thor is one of them. They tried to make Thor into like sort of a dull-witted bully. They could never demonize him like they did Odin, or even especially Loki. But Thor is a god of the common man. He doesn't plot or scheme or try to trick people. He wears his heart on his sleeve, and he says what he means, and he means what he says. To get this hammer, I had to go through a very, very serious initiation. It took 4 days to complete, but it is based on what we know now, or most people know, when Loki orchestrated the loss of Thor's hammer, and Thor wound up with it and demanded Freya's hand in marriage to give the hammer back. The oldest story is Thor has taken the earth as his bride, and Thor is the god of the icy grip. He is the embodiment of the endless, cruel, cold winter, or Frimble. And he has encased her in his icy grip, and he will not let her go, and all life is fading from her. And Thor comes, which is her son, and he says, Thor, you are to let her go. Now you find out later, and this is stuff that Ossetu groups do not know. And so I'm revealing secret things here because Thor is saying it's okay. Therm is a distant or removed father of Therm. No, sorry. Therm is a removed father of Thor. Therm is Thor's father, but a distant one, is what I'm trying to say. And he comes to Therm and says, "You are to let her go." And he says no. And so Thor builds this roaring fire in the middle of this icy, desolate planet now, ice encrusted, and it goes through the entire ring of runes, and it settles on Nothes, which is the rune of need. It looks like two crossed fingers, and it's actually a person building a fire by rubbing two sticks together. And while Thor rubs these two sticks together of oak, the last oak remaining that hasn't been killed off by this icy grip, Therm sends all his minions after Thor. So not only must Thor build a roaring fire, he must fight all the minions of Therm. And he finally gets this fire going, and he rips the oak out of the ground and he throws it in the fire, and the oak bursts into flames. And so he has this giant flaming oak tree that he picks up and he hurls it deep onto this frozen lake, which is the heart of Therm. And it crashes through the lake, and the fire explodes, and it melts Therm's heart. And all the ice melts, and Therm's grip releases from his mother, and her beautiful bounty returns. So I did this story. I had to find a man who could challenge me. And I found one. He was 6'8", about 380 pounds. Huge. And I stand about 6'3", about 265, of just meat. and I had him call down Therm for a couple weeks, and I called down Thor, and we met in a secluded area that no one would hear our screaming and yelling. And my goal, and after 2 days we played out this ritual drama. In the last 2 days I had to build a bonfire by rubbing two sticks together while he did everything he could to stop me, short of picking up rocks and hitting me in the head. But punching me, grappling me, biting me, kicking me, strangling me, trying to break my arms and legs, totally fine. I had to fight him off and at the same time rub two sticks together to build a fire.